you, man? How are you today?
Doing all right. Gearing up for tour, man. It's about 10 days away before we leave, so got a bunch of things to take care of at home. How about
Cool,
you?
man. I'm fine, except for my neck. My neck is dead because yesterday I went to see Mayhem here in Buenos Aires.
Oh
So
shit.
was an
Nice.
incredible show, but take it all the next day.
Headbanging injuries, man. I love it.
I want to start this interview with a quiet question and surely typical question, which is, how was the composition and recording process of this new album, and how long did it take?
It's always a pleasure to record with Will Putney. This was our first time at his new studio in New Jersey. And it's, I think, the most modern and just well put together studio we've ever been part of. So that aspect of it was great. It's a very comfortable place to be. We stayed there when we recorded. So it's great to live a record when you're there. And plus Will's the best, man. He's this is his second record with us, and we've really enjoyed working with him. I feel like he brings the best out of us with writing and with our performances as well. And it did take a long time, but about a year from start to finish. The only reason for that was we ran out of time recording music, and then I had to kind of play around with Will's schedule to finish vocals. And I did have a couple of delays with writing lyrics. I had to make sure this record was the best one we've ever done. So we made sure to take some time and get it right. And yeah, about a year when all was said and done.
Cool, man. And always is the same creative process, I mean, your creative process is always the same, or as the time went by, did the band's way of working change?
Over time, the way the band has changed drastically. Because we started in 1998. It's before a lot of this modern day technology. So we would actually just get in the jam space. We had a little boom box with a tape player, and we'd press record to record parts we liked. And we just jam them out in practice and just write on the spot. But now, fast forward 25 years, everyone has a computer. Everyone has the capability of recording in their bedroom or the home studio. And we can piece songs together that way by sharing files. And so we've been doing that for a long time. So we actually almost very rarely rehearse the songs before we go into the studio now. We just trade files back and forth, and we go into the studio ready.
Cool. How do you get inspiration when composing? Is it hard for you sometimes to get inspiration, the no inspiration, or is it easy for you at this point?
We all kind of lean on each other, but also we've noticed that it's, especially in the past, 5 to 8 years, the band had gotten to a certain point, and we had already gone through our inspirations from when we were younger, and we kind of had to find a new love for heavy music again. And it was great that around that time, the underground scene really started to take off again, because I feel like music pushes and pulls, and sometimes certain eras speak to different people a certain way. And for a while, new music wasn't speaking to us. But around 2015, 2016, it seemed like the underground really found a sound that we all liked and got inspired by. Of course, bands like Power Trip and Knocked Loose were leaders at the time, like the young bands killing it. Now they're massive bands, especially if Power Trip comes back. But it's really kind of spawned a whole wealth of great underground music, and to be a fan of music is to be inspired. And so we've found a lot of inspiration in these younger bands, and also some of our heroes, like bands like Testament and Anthrax and Megadeth and Exodus yet. These bands are still putting out great music, and some of it you can say is maybe their best music of their careers. And these are guys who've been going for 40 plus years, and so you find inspiration there as well.
Cool, man. Cool. I read on the internet, speaking about the thrash metal bands, that Jane Hoogland was a live member of the band in 2007. How was the experience of work with him?
It was wonderful, man. We met Gene. We did a tour called The Sounds of the Underground in 2005, and that was in North America. And at the time, Opeth had to send the drummer home. He was sick, and he was playing Strapping Young Lad, and he filled in for Opeth with 1 day notice. That's pretty good, pretty progressive.
Yeah. It's very professional, right?
Yeah, professional. And we were sharing a bus with Opeth, and so he rode in our bus a couple of times, and we got to know him. What a sweet guy. and true pro on the drums. And so in 2007, we had to part ways with our drummer, Mike at the time, for a variety of reasons. And we let him go halfway through the tour. And just sure enough, we were going towards Vancouver, British Columbia. And that's where Gene was. And we called him up because he was rehearsing with strapping. And he's like, yeah, Daddy-O, I'll fill in for you. And so he filled in for like 3 weeks in that tour. And then we did, shortly after, we went to Australia and Alaska, and he came with us there as well. New Zealand too.
Cool.
Dude ruled. I loved hanging out with him. He's a pro.
Cool. Perfect, man. Perfect. And about you, how do you take care of your voice? Because I don't know if you knew this, but in the most recent Hellfest, Tobias Forge from Ghost broke his voice in the middle of the stage before of the last song of the set. So they had to leave the stage. Fortunately, the people understood the situation and supported Tobias, you know. But I can imagine that this kind of situations really sucks, specifically for a singer. So do you do any kind of warm-up or exercise before recording or going on stage?
Yeah, of course. So that happened to me before. We played we headlined a festival in Switzerland, I want to say 10, 12 years ago. And it was really cold outside. It was a cold summer day, night. And I didn't properly hydrate. I was a little bit sick, and played 5 songs, and my voice just didn't work anymore. It just wouldn't vibrate. I could barely speak. And so we had to cut the set. I apologized and actually wrote a letter on our Facebook and I think Instagram, if we had it at the time, and wrote an apology letter. Devastating. When your voice stops working, there's nothing you can do. But since, I mean, I rarely lose my voice. I'm knock on wood. I've been taking vocal lessons my whole life, and I have a vocal instructor. Her name is Melissa Cross from the Zen of Screaming. She has talked me through various vocal, trying times. And most notably, in 2006, we were on a tour doing a 19-day stretch in a row, and a little more than halfway through, I lost my voice. Called her, and she spent the next hour on the phone with me to walk me through warm-ups, warm-downs. And just to really emphasize to stay hydrated. So you really have to warm down, do exercises, and make sure you pound water. Not just before you play. You have to just drink water constantly. And small things I'll do that I don't even realize I'm doing on tour is I'm always keeping my voice warm. So I'll just do a light humming throughout the day, like maybe a bee noise or like something like that. And I don't realize I'm doing it now. But so my dudes will say, hey, you making noise? I'm like, yeah, sorry. It's just part of the job, you know?
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, totally. And speaking about being on the road, the band has a career spanning over 15 years, you know? So did you have any bad experience in a show or tour besides of this that you was telling me? Or something crazy that happened and remain as an anecdote?
I mean, it's 25 years of this band, and we've had a lot of crazy times. We've often compared ourselves to, which I know a lot of bands do, to Spinal Tap. We've had many member changes, especially our drummers. It's tough to come up with one on the spot, but man, it's been wild. It's been a real fun time, and shit that you wouldn't even imagine that would happen has happened to us, and it's been a fun ride.
I want to know, what does the cover and title of this album represent? I mean, the lyrics are connected to these two things.
So the whole record is a concept record. It's our first ever real concept album, and it deals specifically with the climate crisis, and so it is speaking from what's happening now and different consequences throughout time. So the song is about war, because there's there will be wars, personal wars against your neighbor, wars between borders. There'll be migrant crises when humans are forced to leave where they live due to heat, be food scarcity, be famine, to be disease. If we don't act fast enough to change these things. And so that's what this record is all about. We hired Alex Goulet from Goulet Design to do the cover art, and he's done all the single art as well. So he read the lyrics through, and he came up with that cover just to correlate with the lyrics, and we love it. So I think
it's a really cool picture, man. Congrats.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And do you have any favorite song from this album? A song that make you say, man, This song is incredible.
I love our latest single, Mother Betrayal. It doesn't really sound like Unearth, man. It's
Yeah.
we challenged ourselves this album to make some different sounds, different flavors. And I think that one definitely sounds like a different band. But you can still tell it's us, but it's something new, and it's something fresh, a fresh sound for our fans, and it's doing really well. That the streams are killing it right now, and we're really happy to see that. And I pushed my voice to be a lot different on this record, stronger, more dynamic, and I especially think that song was a standout.
Yeah, it's a killer song, man.
Thank you. Got my son over there. Say hi, buddy.
Hey, hello.
This is Brody.
And speaking about the song Mother Betrayal, and how were the videos for the Gracias de Ruinos and Mother Betrayal made? I mean, the shooting was there in USA or in another country?
The Wretched, the Ruinous, we did that in Japan. That was shot on tour. So it was our first time in Japan in 5 years. No, I'm sorry, 8 years. And we had to shoot a video, and we were going to shoot one in a studio back in Boston. And then it was the holidays, and it was tough to get someone. And then I was like, you know what? Our shows in Japan are doing well. We've never shot a true video there. So I reached out to the promoter that was bringing us over, and he had a guy. And so, yeah, we'll film the two shows you're playing. So we had two sold out shows. And then he did some footage of us hanging around Tokyo. But it really captured the live energy from the show. And that was on purpose. Like we thought about it, like, right, well, yeah, we can do a studio video, just a traditional storyline. But the first video out of the gate with this lineup with Mike back on drums and with Peter on guitar, who's new to the band. We wanted to show the energy and the togetherness this group has. And I think that's a perfect video for that. And then Neil Corbin did the video for Mother Betrayal. Peter, the guitar player, actually wrote the treatment for that song. And he wanted to give it a dark approach and not be overly literal with imagery of what the song is about, but make it more of a story. And you can still what the storyline is, but it's not just overly literal. So Peter did a great job with that, and then Neil Corbin is the director.
How long did it take, the shooting of both videos?
The Wretched, the Ruinous is just, we were in Tokyo for 3 days, and he did some shooting when we were there, but it was mainly just that one show. And so that was easy. We played the song at the gig, and he recorded it, different angles. And then Mother Betrayal, I think it was over a course of just a full day, he recorded the storyline. And each of us filmed at home with a different videographer. So up in Boston, Mike, Buzz, and myself live in this region. So we used a guy from Punch Dance Studios, Jarvis. And then Peter did this guy, Mike, from Lament Cityscape up in Portland, Oregon, to do his performance footage. And then Chris did his in Fort Worth, Texas, with Nick Forkel to do the performance footage. So the performance footage is shot by 3 different people, but Neil directed and edited and shot all the storyline, then edited it all together.
Cool. And speaking about the play a concert in Tokyo, man, how is that experience? I can imagine that it's a completely different culture,
It is, and it's one of my favorite places on the planet. I really love visiting Tokyo. That's our 8th time there. Been going since 2005. It is very unique. It's very different from everywhere else. And we've been a lot of places. We've been on 6 continents, and everywhere is unique to itself. But you can really tell that everything's at least semi-similar. But something about Japan, especially Tokyo, it feels like a future city. It's really cool place, and the culture is so different. And it's just a fun experience to get to go there. So we're very lucky to have been there 8 times.
Cool, man. Cool.
Back.
Perfect. We are reaching to the end, and I want to know, how do you feel working with Century Media Records, and what difference do you find between this label and your previous labels?
Century Media is great. This is our 2nd record with them worldwide. We were in Metal Blade Records for years, and they were awesome worldwide as well. For our record, Watchers of Rule, we tried a different approach. We did 4 labels. North America, we did E1, which is now Monarch. We did Century Media in Europe. Then we Howling Bull Japan, 3 Wise Records in Australia. We ultimately found that was too hard to take care of, 4 different labels, and it was difficult to get everyone on the same page as far as promotion at the same time. So Century Media Europe was actually the best label for us during that time, and so it was an easy thing to move over to them, and they've treated us very well ever since.
Cool, cool. And I know that in the next month you are going to be pretty busy with a pretty extensive tour in Europe. But I want to ask you if there are any plans to do a Latin American tour sometime this year.
Yeah, we are always hoping to
Mm.
do a full Latin American tour. We were just in Mexico in was it December or November? It was our first time there in a long time. Well, we did the festival in 2018 or 19, but Domination Fest. But we haven't done a headlining tour there since I think it was 2008. So it was been a long, long time. But we've made friends with some promoters down there now, and there's talks of doing a full Latin American tour. So Mexico, Central and South America as well. So it's hopefully that happens in this calendar year.
Cool, cool. And now to finish, what advice would you give to a band that is just starting out in the industry? A tip for a new band?
If you want to get far, be friendly to everyone that you come up with. That's very important. I think the bands in the industry do kind of like to weed out the ones that aren't so nice. But always try to keep improving your craft, and don't get too far into it if you don't want to, if you don't really want it. It's, if you want to do a weekend warrior thing, that's one thing, but that's fine. But if you really want to go for it, it's not easy. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of financial hardships. There is a lot of reward if you get there, but it's not constant. The life of a musician isn't an easy one unless you make it to that upper level. So you need to really want it to do it full time.
Sure, man. Perfect. Perfect, Trevor. Was a really big pleasure. That was all for today. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you a lot of success, man. I hope to see you here in Argentina very soon.
I appreciate you, Lucas. Thank you.
Thanks to you. Goodbye.